Hi everybody, I am Sarah Nielsen and this is Rhonda Saxton Williams. We work with Showplace Cabinetry. We're right over here in the back. We are out of South Dakota. We have a showroom here in Urbandale and we do anything cabinetry that you can think of. So we're going to kind of go over some of the do's and don'ts of doing a kitchen remodel. So we're going to kind of talk about kind of getting a professional advice and starting with that on the first base to just kind of what some of the advantages of having that personal experience is going to be like.
A lot of people want to know, do we need to have a professional designer to help us? And it kind of depends on who you're going to get your cabinets, because many of the cabinet companies in Des Moines hire interior designers, a lot of Iowa Staters, and so you're going to get professional design work from them. And some are able to help you with your flooring, your backsplash tile, your countertops, others are not. So you kind of have to do your homework and do a little investigating to see who you're working with. And obviously some of those that have designers that have training are going to give you some better designs, meaning the function, storage, and also being pretty by the time it's finished. In general, most of the designers here in Des Moines do not charge for their service. It's part of the sale of their cabinets. So you're able to get some good free advice through them. There are a couple designers in town that do have like a retainer up front, and if you purchase your cabinets, then you're able to get that as a credit towards your cabinetry.
If this is your first remodel, we strongly suggest not trying to be your own general contractor. It always might seem like you might save a little money on doing that, but it usually is going to save you a lot of headaches in the end if you kind of just trust your professional that you go to first. We have a lot of contractors that we use on a daily basis that I trust with everything. They know their stuff, they're really great at what they do. And there's always some great stories of times where a client you have 10 different people doing 10 different jobs and lines get crossed and things don't get done the way they should be, and what could have been a really smooth job doesn't go as smoothly because there's just way too many people involved. So if you really don't have that experience, I mean, there are people who have tons of experience and have done 10 different remodels, and that's fantastic. But definitely trust your professionals, kind of let them all in on what needs to be done first.
Definitely do find a contractor if you're moving walls, because they will verify that it's okay to move those walls. I have had a lot of experiences where people have come in and said, oh yeah, the bulkhead can be moved. We get it out, it's full of pipes, it's full of electric, which electric's easy to move, but those pipes can be costly. Everything's movable, but at a cost. And so you really want to do your homework. So that is a do with the contractors. Make sure you bring them in if you're moving walls and anything major like changing floor heights. There's a lot of things, because then that affects maybe your door frames and you can't get your doors open because you put in a new floor. There's a lot of simple things that you don't think about maybe when you're going through the process. As we have up here, a lot of our ideas that customers bring in are from Pinterest or Houzz.com, H-O-U-Z-Z, and they have an area where you can put in your ideas. And obviously, as you're going through your ideas book with this search engine, the more detail you put in, the more information you're going to get back that pertains to your new kitchen and what you want to do. This service then also has like an idea book, and you can send that idea book to us, and we can get pinpoint it easier and quicker exactly what you're looking for, and be able to get a design that works for your kitchen.
So I will say I tend to be an HGTV junkie all the time, but please, when you come in, if you're thinking about a remodel, do not expect their pricing, because they have contractors that are on there. It's a TV show, so they have contracts everywhere. It is not realistically priced, and I've actually seen the articles from some of the shows there, even the people that are on the shows, that even say this isn't realistic, you can't, the timelines aren't realistic, the pricing's not realistic. So if you come in to do a kitchen remodel and you're expecting the amazing kitchen that you just saw on HGTV for $10,000, you're not going to get that. It's going to probably triple that by the time that it all gets said and done. And it's going to take 2 to 3 months instead of the 6 weeks that they can do, just because contractors here, they're busy. They're going to have other jobs was going than just your one, just because there are some downtimes that are in a kitchen remodel to do.
I know.
Also, a lot of times your better contractors and designers are busy for a reason, because they're good. So you might have to wait a few extra weeks to get your project back. Our turnaround time is usually about 10 days to get you all your information back to you. So you've got some ideas for your kitchen and layouts that you can present to a contractor. Then you get a bid that is closer to the true costs, the more information you can give them. Also, too, since we're talking about professional advice, we all love our friends, but don't build a kitchen or make a kitchen that is what your friends like. They're going to give you all kinds of suggestions, and it's going to be their kitchen when you're done. You need to stick kind of to your gut feeling of what works for you and what works for your family, and don't listen 100% to your friends. You can, because they may not give you the best advice for what's good for your friends, for your family, and also the wow factor of your kitchen. Don't put everything you've seen in the last 10 years in your kitchen. One, the things that are 10 years old are going to be obsolete for what we're doing now. And second of all, you don't want to overdo it. I'll let you talk about some overdoing.
Okay, so we just kind of put some pictures up here of some of the kind of overdoing factors that we're talking about. You can kind of see up in this left one, they did a whole island with a glass front and a water scene. That's great. If you like that beachy feel, you like that water, okay, so throw in some blues in your backsplash or some accents like that that kind of get that beachy feel. This is a little on the overboard side, I think, for what you want. This bottom one here, they've got 3 different heights for the staggered of their upper cabinet. That used to be a traditional look. That's what everybody did. You'll see still a lot of spec homes that still have that kind of staggered look. It's still a great look for the Midwest here. But you start getting into so many different heights and there's just way too much going on. It's way too busy and it really dates your kitchen trying to get it new right now. On this other side, just the two-toning. It is very popular right now to two-tone. In your perimeter and your island. Do an island a little bit darker or an accent color. That looks fantastic. You can kind of see here, this top one, they just did a straight line through the top cabinets and painted half and half. That's not a great look. This bottom one, they've got 3 different colors going on. Their upper cabinets are white, the bottom cabinets are like a blue-green, and then their island is a brown. For one, the colors really don't go together to complement each other in an all-over. And once you have even in a bigger kitchen, if you have too many colors going on, it's just way too busy. It looks like you kind of you couldn't make up your mind, so you decided to do it all because you didn't want to choose between one or the other. So just kind of toning it down. That's where kind of the Pinterest in the house, going on there and kind of finding the ideas that you really like, and then having a professional that's going to help you tone down what you want and make it what you actually want in the end without getting too overboard in all of that, all of what's popular and in style right now.
And when we talk about a wow factor, a lot of times people will pick a really interesting floor, and that is so busy that we don't need to have more interest in the cabinets or in the countertop. You need to figure out what is important to you. You know, and a lot of times when you're out shopping, I'll have customers that'll say, well, what should I do first? And since I'm a cabinet person, I should say cabinets. But that's not true. A lot of times the flooring, especially if it's going through an entire house, is very important. And then we bring out the colors in that floor and are able to pick out your cabinet colors and your countertops. And as she was saying, if you've got a busy countertop, you don't want to have a busy backsplash. And I know a lot of you guys have seen all the mosaics. Those are very busy in comparison to an all-over feel or all-over color. And a lot of times we use the grout to get the depth in that backsplash. And that's another point that we like to make is don't match everything. I know you're all thinking, okay, I have oak cabinets, I'm tired of them, everything in my house is oak, I'm ready to change things out. The reason you're so disappointed with your oak cabinets right now is that you had a contractor that did a fabulous job matching everything exactly perfect. There's no depth in the room because of that. If they had done a little bit lighter baseboard, a little darker floor, and not had everything matching perfect, you wouldn't be tired of your oak kitchens. So if you do have an oak kitchen right now, maybe change out the stain of some of your woodwork and things like that. A lot of people do paint them, because that's an easy fix, but there are other choices that you can work around. And also the one piece of advice that, I'm backtracking just a little bit, when you're working with a designer or especially the contractor, every time you change your mind, cha-ching, because that's not their bid. And so expect your bids to change, so try not to change your mind once you get the process going, unless it absolutely is because of function or there's something that happened in the walls, that type of thing. But also, if you I've lost my train of thought here. When you are with your contractor, every time you stop and shoot the breeze, that's more money again, because you held them up with your project. So try not to be chatty Cathy and chat up your contractor all the time, because that will cost you some money. Because again, you're taking them away from their time. So that's another don't.
So I'm going to talk just a little bit about kind of storage and function. Personally, as a designer, that's what I kind of strive towards through the whole process. I want to make sure that your kitchen functions for you, and that's kind of the big thing for me. It's going to look fantastic, and I'll tell you that it'll look great in the end. But the main thing is it's got to function. Because if it looks great and you get in it and you go, oh crap, now I don't know how to work anything, then it just doesn't work for you, and you just spend a ton of money on something that doesn't work for you. So on the screen you kind of see, these are just kind of some options that we have personally in our cabinet line. But it's a good idea to kind of think of, when you're thinking about a remodel, before you go talk to a professional, we're going to be able to help you with all of this, don't get me wrong. But if you kind of have an idea, okay, what in your kitchen currently isn't working? What would be a better option for you? How do you want it to function a little bit better for your day-to-day? That's going to help us kind of know you a little bit better to figure out how we need to design this in order to get it ready for you. There's a lot of accessories out there, but not all of them fit each client. Some are just going to be a waste of space for you, and some are going to be your best friend for 20 years to come. So it's kind of an idea that you have to look up when you're looking up on Pinterest and things like that. Just look at accessories. Go into like our showroom, come into our showroom and just open up cabinets and stuff and see what looks good, because it's going to depend on how you function every day for what you really need in that kitchen for yourself.
We thought we'd talk a little bit about things to do when you're remodeling. A lot of people don't realize that they need to have their kitchen cleaned out before the guy arrives to do demo. Again, that's money again, why he's standing there watching you load up the boxes of dishes and decide, oh, I don't want this anymore. Get organized before the guy comes the night before. Also find out from him, where is the best place to put my temporary kitchen? A lot of people wait till summertime so they can use the grill, set up their microwave, move the refrigerator into another part of the house. Those are all things that you can do to get ready for the remodel. And also, decide if you want to donate your cabinets, because a lot of kitchens, your cabinets are not to your liking, but you could donate them to Restore and they'll come and pick them up. So you could just take them out to your garage. We've also had customers who have sold their kitchens online with Craigslist, and they've gotten probably the value of their countertop back. I've had one lady, it was all oak cabinets that she was tired of, but it was perfect for another person's apartment for landlords, and they paid her $3,000 for her kitchen. That's money that can buy a new refrigerator. So think about doing that.
So cleaning, I've dealt with plenty of clients that love to clean. If you're going through a remodel, just plan on not cleaning. It's going to be dusty, it's going to be crappy, and I apologize, and I know it would bug me a lot. But if you clean, you're going to drive yourself crazy, because you're going to be cleaning every day until the whole thing's over. It's okay to dust a little bit. Our contractors are fantastic. They'll tent off, they'll plastic, do not feel bad about asking your contractor to put up plastic. They may grumble about it, it might be an extra step that they have to do, but it is your home and you have to live in it, so they need to abide by what you want them to do. So have them plastic off your main rooms that are away from it, so you don't get all that dust in there. But just don't drive yourself crazy and trying to clean everything every day, because it's not going to get any better until it's all finally done.
And don't follow them with the dust busters. That's not nice. We're talking from experience.
Yes.
Also, some other hints on when they are actually doing the work, like countertops, the caulking they have that they use, it dries clear, but it's white when it goes on. So don't go calling your designer in a panic. Say, aha, I know, I remember. This is going to dry clear. Also, hardware. When they put the hardware on, that's also the time when they adjust the doors, because they'll take the doors off because the cabinets are heavy to actually attach them to the walls. And so when they put the doors back up to keep them protected, they don't always straighten them and put them up the way they're supposed to. So don't panic until he's saying, I'm done, I need my check. If they're still crooked, then you can approach him on that. Also, there's times when we have doors that have a blemish or something on it, or got hit. We make a list and take care of that so that it's all done before the job's over with. So if you do have something, just remember it's more important you got your box and they're able to move forward on the design, and we can replace the door or the drawer header if it needs to be. So don't worry about things like that. We're trying to give you some ideas of what happens when you remodel that could be little hiccups.
So we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, just design-wise, kind of with your countertop and your backsplash. You know, you got to figure out kind of what is more important to you. If you have your eye on a countertop that's super busy and you just love it, then kind of choose that first, and then kind of pick everything else that complements to that. So here are just a couple ideas that we've had, the in-past clients and everything that. So you kind of see that top one, that really super busy mosaic, and they just did a very simple kind of black countertop to it. And then this bottom one, it's a really busy, big movement piece for their countertop. So you just do a kind of a simple subway tile for that. You really need to figure out what works best for you. I mean, like she said, if your flooring is most important, pick that out first. Everything else can complement to that. But if you start picking out your cabinets first, and then you find a floor that you love, but it doesn't go with your cabinets, then A, you've either wasted all your time and now you're going back to pick out cabinets, or you're going to settle for some other floor that goes with the cabinets you already picked because you don't want to waste that time that you already picked out the cabinets. So one way or another, you're losing in that situation. So kind of just decide what works best for you, what's more important, and then you can move on to that next step. And a designer or a professional, they're going to help you in that order come up to that next step.
Along with the countertops, kind of a little suggestion. We have a lot of clients that come in and they put a new countertop on old cabinets. Now what do we do? Because now my cabinets are really, really old. And so there's a process called refacing, and it would put a veneer finish on your existing cabinets, and then you would put on new doors and drawer headers. You save about 25% in the whole process, but you do not have to remove your countertop or have the extensive remodel. With this process, the inside of the cabinets stay the same. If you start changing the inside of your cabinets, then that 25% gets smaller of what you're saving. The most expensive part of cabinets are the doors and like roll-out trays, the drawers, the hinges. That stuff is all expensive and adds up fast when you're doing a refacing. But that is an option if you just put in a new countertop and realize I shouldn't have put that on a 30-year-old cabinet. And a lot of people will come in and say, my cabinets are 30 years old, I want to reface. And I say, go back and look again. Would you put $6,000, $7,000 into a car that was 30 years old? Maybe if it's a really good classic, but is your cabinet a good classic? Maybe not. So really think out about what you're going to do with your cabinets before you put on the countertop. Same thing goes with flooring. A lot of people will change their floors out before they realize the cabinets need to be replaced. That locks you into a pattern, and you have to keep basically the same floor plan So we always recommend get a design first, think out everything you're going to do before you start that process, because you might regret that I've already bought even appliances and they don't fit now in my new design. And you end up going on Craigslist to sell your new dishwasher or stove in particular, or also refrigerator. And that's one thing that we do with refrigerators is we allow you growth with those. A lot of people will use the same refrigerator that they have now because it's only 2 years old, and we will adjust the height so that when you go to replace that refrigerator, it will accept like a taller refrigerator and things like that. We do plan ahead for you so you're not locked in, because I'm sure some of you have been locked in with your refrigerator and you can't get a new one.
So along with that too, kind of your sinks. You're gonna always want a new sink if you're changing your countertop. I would not suggest, unless you just bought one, like it's a nice undermount, something like that, that could probably be reused. But if you've had one for 10 years, I would just strongly suggest just getting a new one. They're not that expensive when you come into the whole scheme of the whole remodel itself, and just kind of putting it all together. I mean, I've talked to a couple people who were like, well, we're gonna do this in stages. We're gonna do the ceiling, and then we're gonna do the flooring, then we're maybe gonna do cabinets and stuff. Think about it kind of all in term, because the ceiling is going to be best if you can get all the cabinets out. The contractor, it's going to be easier for the contractor to do it. The flooring, again, if you do flooring first, you're stuck to that layout if you decide to do cabinets again. But it's going to be a lot easier for a contractor to come in, rip out everything, and then build it back up than trying to come in and, oh, you put down new floors? Well, now we have to try to cover your floors so that we don't damage them all to get to the ceiling. Oh, you have a new ceiling? Now we have to try to make sure we don't damage it when we take out the cabinets. It's just a nicer array for them, process and everything to get in and just do it all at once. So design-wise, some of the new things that we're kind of seeing, trends, different things like that, pet areas are very big right now. Everybody has pets, almost. And so we're kind of noticing that more and more people are putting just a little area in their kitchen for their pet stuff. Pet food, the water, little bed areas. I've seen peninsulas that come out, and that's the kennel area. So we're seeing that is really big right now. Islands. Everybody wants a huge island, and if your space can fit it, that's fantastic. But you need to think to yourself, if you can't reach the middle of it to clean it, it's not a great fit for you, because you're never going to get that inside clean. So you want to make sure that you don't overdo it in terms of the size. You want it to fit your space, you want it to fit you and function best for you.
Because of the size of the slabs now, we can get up to 118 inches with some products. So you can have a huge island, which is really great, and lots of stools, seating areas, but you have to decide what kind of seating do you want on that new island. Do you want it all on one side so you can't face each other when you're having a conversation? Do you want it on the end so you can have a conversation? The other thing is your stools. I can't tell you how many people come in and they bought new stools that they have to sell again on Craigslist because they get too high. Make sure you get the right proportion for what height your island is. And also with the islands, we are doing level, all one level now, and not so much the two heights, because so many people are living in place, aging in place, I should use that term. And so it's a lot easier for you to back up and get on a stool than it is to step up and get on a stool as you're getting older. So keep that in mind. Also, if you have grandchildren or kids, that heavier stool is a lot harder for them to move around on a regular basis, and you don't want to have to pull them out all the time either to clean under. The other thing that bugs me is that people will leave this, they have a brand new beautiful kitchen and they have a trash can sitting at the end of the island. Why? You can have a cabinet that has the hidden trash units inside of it, one for recycle, one for trash itself, and it's hidden, and you don't have to look at it. But to have this can still sitting out, try not to do that.
Kind of along the same lines as the microwave. The microwave is always a touchy subject for any designer and any client. So it used to always be above the stove. That's just where you found it. That's where it at. If you have the space, I strongly suggest putting it somewhere else. The drawer microwaves are fantastic. I do them in a lot of kitchens right now because it's, again, the aging in place. It's a lot easier to go underneath and pull it up than it is to go above your head and pull it down. And if you're thinking in terms of safety, even for kids, it's going to be a lot easier for a kid to use it because they can go down and just bring it right up to the counter instead of spilling it on themselves as they're trying to take it out. So again, if you don't have the space, it works to put it above the stove. It's still not an issue. It still is just fine. But if you have the opportunity to put it somewhere else, it looks so much better. You'll be happier. It's a lot safer to do it that way. The tile backsplash. There's options for tile backsplash. What we do a lot of now, and kind of you see the trend because it's just a nicer look, is like this bottom one down here. Take that tile up and around that window. Make the whole wall kind of an accent wall to do that. Some areas don't allow that. I have a job that I can't do that because the window has so much crown at the top of it that it just doesn't make any sense to have it go up and around that. It just doesn't look good. But it does make a nicer look to do that, have it go up all the way around, incorporate that whole wall, than to just kind of stop it. You stop it at that 18 inches, well then you have to try to cap it off at the top, and it just it chops up your walls a little bit.
I'm going to hit on barn doors a little bit. A lot of people have bathrooms that are leading into a living room area, or they have a bathroom that's outside the kitchen. You put a barn door on there and you'll hear them pee because that door isn't tight. So think about where you're using your barn doors, because now unless you've got a designated part of that bathroom that has a door on it for the toilet, but otherwise you can hear everything that's going on in that bathroom because that door is not tight. So think about that, because, and you will now every time you use a barn door in someone else's house. The other thing that I think is important when you're designing, if the person's master bedroom is right behind the kitchen wall that the refrigerator is going to be, you might want to make sure they are going to move their bed, or you do not put that refrigerator on that wall, because about 11 o'clock at night, that's when it makes new ice, and you're in bed trying to sleep and you hear that machine come on and make new ice. That's why I say not a good idea. So think those things out when you're organizing yourself with your new layout of the kitchen, if at all possible. Yes, a lot of things we're telling you it's not possible. You don't have enough space in your kitchen. But these are things, if you were able to do that, that you'll be glad that you did.
So we're going to touch just a little bit on styles, kind of layering of styles. Everybody's always wanting to know what the trend is, but they don't want to go too trendy because you don't want it to go out in 5 years and have to think about like maybe redoing it again. So you can layer styles. Don't think you have to be married into, oh, I really think traditional, so I have to go traditional, or I really want modern, I have to go super modern. That's not the case. You can style and put them over the top, layer them. So we kind of have like a bohemian style here. You can do that in your backsplash and have that really kind of funky, add those colors in there. You can do a casual chic. It's a little more classic, a little more elegant, without going super overboard and like blingy and the wow factors and all of that. You can layer those different options. A lot of what people are doing, especially here in the Midwest, are kind of that transitional style. They want to go a little bit modern, but they still want that prairie look, so you've got to do that shaker style in there with the doors, make it really nice, sleek, and modern. I mean, somewhat modern, but it's not going to be your over high gloss white modern kitchen that looks sterile. So there's a lot of ways that you can go and get the look that you want without sticking to one type of style. It's kind of that's where the Pinterest in the house comes in. Look at 100 photos. You might like 6 different styles and you kind of want to blend them together. There are different ways to blend those together. That's where a professional is going to come in and be able to let you know what looks good and how do you get all of those styles kind of into one look.
A lot of times we talk about kitchens being modern versus contemporary. And when we say that, modern tends to be a very warm, sleek, simple look. The contemporary tends to be a colder look. When people say, oh, I don't like contemporary, that's what they're thinking about. It's not inviting necessarily. Some are, yes, but you know, you have to like that look. And so we find a lot of people in our area are more apt to be modern because we can put a twist on it with the arts and crafts. We're prairie land. We're always going to have arts and crafts in the prairie look in our neighborhoods because of where we live. But you can have that little twist of modern colors and that's warm and inviting with that. And when we are talking about like grays, I did my first gray kitchen in the Midwest here in '09. You know, that's a long time. Grays are going to stick around for a long time, especially the ones that are the brown grays that are a little warmer, not your blue grays like the Battleship. So think about if you're using your gray tones, where am I going to, how soon can I replace this? If you can't replace it very soon, in a 10-year period, make sure you're going with your brown grays and keep it warm, friendly. It'll also go nicely with your brown floors that you have and with brown trims. When we look at countertops, I'm going to go back to that a little bit, 25% of the countertops are multicolored. 27% are white. 15% are forms of gray, like your concrete looks and things like that. 11% black, because that's an easy, classic look. Black countertops, your cherry cabinets, that type of thing. And then where 6% is into your beige look. 45% of all the countertops are stone. When I say stone, granite. 43% are quartz. And do you know the difference between quartz and stone as far as upkeep things? Quartz, you do not have to seal. And then with your granites, your stone products, you would seal that on a regular basis. That takes about a half hour out of your life. If you want something that has a lot of depth in it, a lot of personality, then you would go with your stone, and it's like waxing your car, just sealing. It's not a big deal. That way both products will perform the same. Talk about it.
Yeah, so cabinets, again, everybody kind of thinks that white is either trendy or going out of style. I mean, both people are not really correct. White's going to be around forever. It's timeless. It's going to be your classic from now on. And we're still seeing almost 50% of cabinets are still white, some form of white. There's a huge range. I mean, we have 6 different white colors in our cabinet line alone, but it's still some form of white that's going in kitchens for the most part. Wood is still a huge thing. We're in the Midwest. People like wood in our country. So your wood is still about 25% of sales right now. I actually do a lot of stain, and I do a lot of kind of that two-toning with the white perimeter and a stained island, because it's just what people like. It's a nice warm look, it's really inviting, and it's a great compromise between the two of them. Like she said, gray cabinets, we're seeing a little bit decrease in that, because I think a lot of people are noticing that they thought it was really trendy. So people didn't want to go with the trend because you might have to change it out in 10 years. So gray is a little lower, it's just shy of 10%. And then multicolored. We're not seeing as many people going multicolored, and I think that's more of like your bases are one color, your uppers are another color. That much two-toning is just too much. People noticed that was really kind of a trend, we didn't need to do that, and kind of went a different style. So kind of the styles of the doors and the fronts. We are Midwestern, we are that prairie style. So that shaker style is very, very popular right now. It's 57% of cabinets right now are that shaker style. We're seeing a little high rise in the flats. So that flat front, that nice, easy, clean, sleek look, that's your contemporary, that's your modern, is about 18% right now. And we're still seeing about 17% of that raised style, so that more traditional look. You see that a little bit more, I think, towards like your alders, your knotty woods, things like that that really have that depth, that look really good with that raised front to it. Coming down to kind of floors and everything, wood floors are about 29%. So a lot of people are still doing those wood floors. The thing with wood floors, they are going to scratch. If you have kids or pets, they're going to scratch. You just need to have it in your mind when you put it in probably 8 to 10 years, you are going to have to sand it down and refinish it. It's wood. It has that character. There's things that are going to happen. We're seeing about 14% of engineered wood, which is our kind of your clip-on laminates, your high engineered. I do a lot more of that personally, just because it holds up. It's a little more durable. Everybody kind of hears that laminate word and they go, well, I don't want to put that in there. It's not durable. It's not going to last. It actually, what they have now, the high luxury stuff, is very good. It's very durable. It's going to last. And it holds up to pets and kids. And we're still seeing, a big thing in tile. 25% is still doing tile, but it's not your normal tile that was 12 by 12, so that's what everybody did. Now we do a lot of either the wood look planks, so that you're doing the 6 by 36, or I do a lot of 12 by 24s. If the space can handle it, it makes your room look bigger, it makes the whole kitchen look bigger, you feel it, and it's just a nicer look to get more uniform through all the way up. Yeah, you can get a wood look in the tile. Super durable, but you still get that nice warm look. I mean, what they do with tile now is crazy. And a lot of people will say, well, it looks cold, it doesn't look like wood. I just did a bathroom in a wood tile, and you almost wouldn't be able to tell that it's not actually wood. So it is there. There is possibilities. Again, talk to a designer, talk to a professional. They're going to be the ones that can shoot you where you need to go in order to find those looks that you're looking for. Any questions? Anybody have any?
If you do want to keep your original wood cabinets, what professional is best to talk to about what to use to refinish them?
That one kind of.
Please repeat the question.
Okay, she was asking about if you have good cabinets and you just want to reuse them, reface them, who's the best person to talk to about doing that? Depends on how you want to do it. If you're talking about painting, a contractor might be there. Like Rhonda said, we do have a refacing program ourselves, and a lot of our contractors also have painters that they use to do that, and then we would supply the fronts to the drawers, all the doors, and all of that. So you can go to just a cabinet place and talk to us, and we'll come out, we'll do those measurements, we'll have the contractor there that will take a look at it. So a lot of it just depends on kind of what area you're kind of going for resurfacing it.
If you would also bring like a picture of the frame of your cabinet, that will help us decide if we have the new hinges that would fit your frame, because a lot of older cabinets, the way the doors were made, are not the same as what we're doing right now in a concealed hinge. So you could also bring a door with you, and then we can also see what we're trying to cover, because it's a veneer sheet that covers it, and then we put on, like she was saying, doors and drawer headers. And we've had some people who, because the box, if you will, wasn't one that we could veneer, so they paint the box and then get their doors from us. We have a custom line, so whatever color you pick, we could duplicate that for you, or you could pick a color that we have and then just paint your cabinets to match. So that is a quick, easy way of taking care of it. But there's also a primer out there that's made strictly for painting cabinetry, and start with that if you're going to do it yourself, and then you get your doors and drawers. Biggest thing is that doors and drawers will stick if it's not prepared properly. Last time I had a bid for just kind of an average size kitchen. It was about $2,000 to have just the boxes painted, just to give you a feel.
You can find us. Our booth space is currently 77 and 78. So we're just back here, this main aisle, just on the other side of all these granite stones.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.